want to show you a little trick that I like to use. Post-spawn females on a warming trend after a cold front really start to feed up on big-bodied brim. And so what I'm doing is I'm using this Mike Bucca's bully brim, this bull brim. This thing is money. All right, I generally use a fluorocarbon leader, but because there's so many bowfin in this area, we're going back into this dark water and the backwoods, backwater swamps, and because I really don't like to throw these $55 swim baits off, what I like to do is just do a direct tie with braid. So I'm using 60-pound braid here, but because that braid shines, you know, because it's light colored, after it wears out a little bit, what you want to do is take a Sharpie and just kind of go up the line, and you want to go up 6 or 8 feet. You don't want to have that line flashing be any reason why you don't catch a fish. Now, one of the things you got to keep in mind is this is going to create scent, okay? And because it creates scent, you're going to need to put some type of cover scent on it. So what I like to do is, after I let that dry, I like to coat my line and my bait with a little smelly jelly, a little bit of you know, Bang, or for the most part, John Cox's cock juice is probably my favorite these days, and so I'll coat it with a little bit of that. So again, you just want to darken that line, and I'm going to show you the contrast. Just looking at this line on camera, look at the difference in how that line shows up when you go from black, that white to black, and in this dark water, that black is almost invisible. You don't have to get it perfectly covered, because even with breaks in it, it looks, you know, it camouflages it a bit, but you really want to darken that leader material. And I'll be honest with you, in this darker water, even fluorocarbon has a bit of a sheen to it and shows up and kind of transmits light, whereas that direct braid doesn't. If you hang up, you can straighten the hooks out for the most part, or pull the cover, you know, up to the surface and get your bait back. So when I'm fishing these really expensive swim baits and I'm fishing in this dark water, I really like to just kind of doctor the leader material up with a Sharpie, throw that Sharpie in my PFD so I got it with me the rest of the day. And when these brims start to act like they're about to spawn, they start to move up and start making beds right after the bass start spawning, and they're going to be heavily in that spawn phase. Those females that are feeding up after the spawn can get a whole lot of nutrition out of a brim like that, whereas they can swim around eating 50 shad to get the same amount of ROI. So they really like to key on these big baits. Throwing these near the base of these dark trees, in ditches and things like that, is a recipe for a fish of a lifetime. So I'm going to go out there and see if I can't make it happen.